Jerry Jones, though, again, you're right. He does say a lot.
A lot.
He's on the radio a lot. He was on the radio yesterday.
105.
Talking about the possibility that lingers of the Cowboys making a trade before the deadline.
Oh, boy.
We're in position to look at a trade. That doesn't mean we're going to make one, but we certainly had in mind when we started this season that we were going to have ammo to be more flexible in terms of what we do with the roster as we move along this year and, of course, as we get into the next couple of years.
All right, I come to our resident Cowboys fanatic in the corner, TJ Jefferson.
Tom, I just want to let you know real quick before you ask this question, I'm in the position to buy a Maybach. I'm probably not going to do it, but I'm in the position to buy one. See how stupid that sounds? Like,
well, you've been saying you need a new car.
Yeah,
so
forever.
And we need a new run.
So
we need
much
a new
like Jerry
defense.
Jones saying we might make a trade, you keep saying you're going to buy a new car, then you throw one out there, and now when you don't buy a Maybach, I'm going to be like...
Get your damn act together.
Exactly. Thank you, Jerry. Let's take it at face value.
Okay.
That all this is not just... And I said this the day after the Parsons trade, the way that Jerry was dangling, hey, we got all this capital. We could move up in the draft next year. We could move up for somebody right now. We could go get a player. I said, Jerry has found a way, regardless what happens this season, for the Cowboys to be relevant, extremely relevant, all the way through the 2026 draft because of the additional capital they got in that trade. But I ask you, TJ, let's assume that he's actually referring to something tangible, that there actually is going to be a Cowboys acquisition, not a trade away, an acquisition. If that's true, what would you want it to be? Player, position, what do you actually think would give the Cowboys a better opportunity from 2-3-1 in a division that is still pretty open right now to give them an opportunity to actually play not just relevant news-wise, but play relevant football at the end of the season?
I mean, look, our defensive backfield, our corners, our safeties, it's a mess back there. So, yeah, you'd want someone back there to help shut down some of these receivers. But like we just said, we cannot stop the run. There's not just one player who's going to, fix what's going on right there. You did give me hope, though. I will say this. You did remind me, we do have some extra picks. We have a lot of salary cap money, right, for next season.
You're not paying Micah $47 million a year like the Packers are.
We have that pick from the Packers, which will probably be 27, 28, or 29, probably. But, I mean, look, there's not one player out there unless you get a Miles Garrett.
You're not answering the question, TJ. We are assuming Jerry is serious. He's making a trade. Who do you want it to be?
You want me to give you a player name?
A player or a position?
We need a run stopper. I know we're supposed to have a run stopper, but we don't.
So bring in defensive linemen is what you're thinking.
Defensive linemen, yes. But then again,
trade for, let's throw in a name. All right. And I'm not saying the Jets are going to do this. I'm not saying the
Quinnen Williams.
Quinnen Williams is available. You'd trade for Quinnen Williams.
Depending upon what it would take to get him. Yeah, Quinnen Williams is what, 25 years old?
Might be 26, 27 now, but still in his prime. Absolutely.
Still in his prime, an absolute monster. Respectfully to the
27.
Jets, 27. I don't think that they're going to be going anywhere either anytime soon. So, yeah, if you had a chance to get a Quinnen Williams, absolutely I'd be down for that. But I don't believe that's the case. I don't think that's going to happen.
If I'm in Jerry's shoes, I'm absolutely active. I want to know what the opportunities are. The position where I think a lot of teams are going to be looking for help coming up to the deadline is wide receiver. They already made that trade. Yeah. They gave up a third rounder for George Pickens. And that, to this point, looks like a pretty smart trade. Now, we'll see how it plays out over the course of the season here. We'll see how they handle things next spring. By the way, George Pickens' agent happens to be the same one as Micah Parsons' agent.
And I'm worried about that, Tom. Like, what happens?
David Mulugeta is a professional. It's not going to impact anything. But to the extent that the Cowboys operate like this with everybody, with every agent, that could end up being a really tricky type of spot. I mean, right now, there's no doubt in my mind you are franchise tagging George Pickens.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday.
You can't let that dude out the door.
Yeah.
No way. But if you're going to get a deal done with him, and the top of the wide receiver market is probably going to be $40 million right now. Jamar Chase, I think, is 38. If I'm George Pickens, I'm going, why am I not a $35 to $40 million a year player? And if you've got the leverage, even if you get tagged, you've still got the leverage. All right, you can play out 1 year. You can tag him again? I guess maybe. It's possible. But that's a postseason story. In terms of Cowboys, to me, I'm looking at every avenue of this, including trading players away. I just don't know that Jerry is in that mode. he's seen an offense that is operating at a really high level. And I give Brian Schottenheimer credit for this. The way that offense has stayed on track without CeeDee Lamb, with basically their entire offensive line in and out of the lineup. The center's out long term. Tyler Booker's been out. Tyler Smith has missed time. They've had all kinds of moving parts, but they've put up numbers. Javonte Williams is back. I mean,
he's been amazing this season.
They've done a really good job offensively. Defensively, they're not good enough. And so then the question becomes, all right, you've said, Schottenheimer has said he believes in the scheme. He believes they have the players to run the scheme, but you can always get players that are better suited. It's not a Matt Eberflus scheme. It's not a corner dominant type of scheme. There's a lot of zone involved. You can get by with different types of players. So is there a scenario where maybe there's a different corner that's a better fit? Maybe you're looking at somebody want Trayvon Diggs. I'm not saying any of this is going to happen, but I would be looking at critically if this is the direction you're going to go. Remember the last time that you had a new head coach, Mike McCarthy fired Mike Nolan after 1 year. Mm-hmm. So I've got no reason to believe that's going to happen with Matt Eberflus. But realistically, to get the correct personnel in place, it's going to take some time. And you might have to think outside the box of, hey, let's bring in one player and sneak into the playoffs, and that's going to be enough. There were some injury updates, by the way, on that game on Sunday. Cowboys-Commanders, which feels like a big game, especially with the Eagles stumbling right now. Commanders put Noah Brown on injured reserve. He'd already been out for, I think, 3 or 4 games. He's now in IR, so out at least 4 more games. Ooh. Terry McLaurin, though, back at practice, which I said this on Sunday morning. My understanding is he thinks he's got a shot to play. They think he's got a shot to play. We'll find out whether or not that happens. That quad kept him out for 3 games. This was kind of right around where they thought he'd be back. That would be huge for them. And then with CeeDee Lamb, again, we'll see whether or not he can practice today. When I checked in over the weekend, I was told 50-50 that he's back this week. But it sounds like he's got a shot, which then the only concern I have about that Cowboys offense is when George Pickens isn't getting the number 1 type of touches, does that alter the dynamic that's really been working here in recent weeks? I mean, they put up 77 points over the previous 2 games. Then even last week in Carolina, the offense was not the problem in that game. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate with this, but this is the reality of the NFL at the 1/3 mark of the season. When you've got, as we were talking about with Jamie, whatever, 11 teams with 4 wins, 20 teams have at least 3 wins through 6 weeks. There's just not a lot of teams that are ready right now to hit the eject button on the season. That's why, and who knows, we could have a trade today. We've had no trades this week. We had several trades, no trades this week. And that's because there's a bunch of teams that are sitting there and going, we don't quite know. We think we know what direction the season's going. Even in a place like Tennessee, where I fully expect them to be open for business for everybody except Cam Ward, essentially, to be available. Doesn't mean they're going to trade everybody. It's going to be high prices on a lot of guys, but you have to be open for business for them. But even they're going, we got to make sure the quarterback's got something around him. We trade Calvin Ridley tomorrow. How hard are we making the job on your interim coach, Mike McCoy, and Bo Hardigree and everybody else? That's the dynamic that these teams have to navigate through.
By the way, if Jeffrey Simmons is available, sure, I'd love to take him off there.
Jeff Simmons, I don't think there's anybody except Cam Ward that would be completely off the table. If there's a second guy, though, it would be Jeff Simmons. Last year it was everybody's available except Jeff Simmons. That was more or less the message the teams got. Mm-hmm. They ended up making, I think they made 1 or 2 trades, but it wasn't like a fire sale type of situation. It would be a very high price on Jeff Simmons. That is your core culture dude. That is the tone setter for everybody in the organization, Cam Ward being 1B in terms of that. But Jeffrey Simmons he's the dude in that locker room. You trade him, it's going to get that much tougher just to keep this thing together, not just for the rest of 2025, a season that's already sunk, but going into 2026 and beyond. It's going to raise a lot of questions about exactly what is the plan here in Tennessee.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.